Good evening. Today I'm talking to Liz Mistry, who was born in Scotland but grew up in Bradford. She writes gritty crime procedurals. Hello, Liz, and welcome. And would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey to becoming an author?
Hi, Donna. It's lovely to be here. I'm one of these people that I wanted to write from, when I was a kid. I always used to write loads and loads of stories at school. And I was the kid that the teachers used to think, oh no, not her, she's written bloody 10 pages again. But, a working class kid from Scotland, they're not going to become writers, are they? So I decided that I would go to university, got a degree and became a teacher. And I moved to Bradford about 30 years ago. And I still wanted to write, and I did a bit in my spare time. And then I thought, well, because I suffer from mental health, I thought, well, I'm going to maybe, use writing as a bit of a therapy for my mental health. And so I eventually decided I would do an MA in creative writing, and by the end of the MA, Bloodhound Books had offered me a 2-book deal for my first 2 Gus McGuire books. And I was like, oh gosh, 53 I was, and I've got this book deal, and I couldn't believe it. I was so pleased, because I thought, well, it's never going to happen for me now, because I'd spent years, about 10 years possibly, sort of sending off to various agents and things and getting nothing back. So it was a real treat for me to do that. So I got that 2-book deal, and then I got a further 3-book deal from Bloodhound, and I'm now self-publishing my Gus McGuire books. But I got then a 3-book deal with HQ, which is a HarperCollins imprint, HQ Digital, for Nikki Pereg. It's a new character, a woman detective. And hopefully I'll get another, working on the 4th book at the minute of those. So I'm writing both books together, really, both series together, and I've got an idea for another series, but I think it might just be a trilogy. I don't know, we'll see. There's only so much time in the day for writing.
And so you're writing full-time at the moment?
More or less. I'm after I did my MA in creative writing, I decided I would do a PhD, or I wanted to do a PhD, because I found that sort of, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, this, I don't know, the academic research combined with the creative element of creative writing work together for me. So I'm doing a PhD, and I'm looking at, basically it's diversity and inclusion within crime fiction, within the crime fiction genre. So I'm nearly finished that. I think hopefully definitely by next summer I'll be doctor. That's the hope anyway, touch wood. I'm nearly finished. The book that I wrote, Unseen Evil, it was part of my PhD, because it's a practice-led PhD. You have to write a novel, and then you have to do academic research around it. So it was about inclusion and diversity and things, and that novel is the one that was part of my PhD. So yeah.
Amazing. What do you find most difficult about writing?
Getting started. Every day, every single day, it's hard to get started. I prevaricate, I faff about, I do anything but emails, Facebook, Twitter, coffee, dishes, washing, anything. And it's so I can aim to start it early in the morning, and by maybe lunchtime I might have just opened up a Word document. Then again, I may not. So yeah, but once I do start, it comes fairly, I can write quite a lot in one go once I've started. And I do this thing where I don't sleep very well, so I tend to spend time in bed, and I'm sort of thinking things through and writing scenes in my mind, if you like. And some people say, oh, I bet you forget about them. And I don't really forget about them, but they stay in my mind and they irritate me every night until I've actually written them on paper. So Yeah, I do a lot of thinking, I think. That's my excuse anyway.
Do you have an aim each day of how many words you want to write, or do you just write until you've had enough and then?
When I'm writing a novel, when I've decided, right, this, you know, I've got this idea for this novel, this is what I'm going to write, I like to write between 1,000 and 2,000 a day. And I try to stick to that quite rigidly, and that tends to work for me. Sometimes can go up to 3, 4, or 5,000, depending on how much enthusiasm I have that particular day, or where the threat, because sometimes sometimes the characters sort of take me off at a tangent and I can't just let go, so I have to keep going and going until I finish that little bit. So yeah, but at the minute I'm not writing. I've been doing some editing and I've been doing some academic work, so I'm not actually doing any creative writing, or not much creative writing at the minute, although the ideas are still floating around in my mind for the next novel. So yeah, at the minute I'm not doing any writing, or not sticking to my 1,000 words a day, but that's the aim when I do write.
You mentioned writing because of mental health struggles. Does that affect your writing, and has the pandemic affected that?
I think my mental health, if I don't write creatively for any length of time, for longer than a couple of weeks, say, I can feel my mood being affected. And I know that I need to start going into another world and start, you know, writing. So that gives me a sort of warning. I don't know if COVID has helped or not with my writing, because I wrote my last Gus book, number 7, Unbound Ties. I wrote it during the pandemic, during lockdown, but I also finished another book, which is my 3rd Nikki Perek book, during this, since March, basically. I've written these 2 books, and I found them quite easy to write once I got started. You know, I didn't have the same fits and starts. Now, whether that was because I just needed to write to keep my mental health going or not, I don't know. What I do find, though, is with my mental health that I've got to the stage now where I know when there's a trigger happening. So if something, you know, like at the beginning of COVID, I was quite anxious because I you know, it was quite frightening generally for everybody. And I found that quite difficult to write then, because I felt anxious. And yeah, so if there's anything going off, like if I have to attend a festival or anything like that, which obviously I've not had to for ages, I know that I have to give myself some me time afterwards to just get myself back, you know, on an uneven keel sort of thing. And I tend to, themes of mental health, different kinds of mental health issues tend to come up in my books. I've had books about self-harm with teens. I've had books, my main character, Nikki, she wears an elastic band because she self-harms sometimes, and to stop her, she clicks her, you know, pulls the elastic band to try and stop her. Gus, my other character, from a Gus McGuire series, he has anxiety and post-traumatic stress. So, you know, I try to incorporate it because I don't think it's spoken about enough, and I don't think people realise just how many people are coping with it on a day-to-day basis. It's like it can be an invisible illness. People don't realise, you know, often that people react in different ways because they're suffering from something, you know, in the mental health. You
know. Yeah, it's something that I struggle with, that people would be surprised. And I was surprised that when I've told people that I struggle, how many people have told me that they struggle as well. So I wish that it was more spoken about even now. So it's quite nice to see it mentioned, because it is tough. And this year I found it's sort of waves, like 1 minute you're okay and it's, oh, you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this world is crazy and I want to get off, you know. So yeah, it is nice.
The panicking, the sort of tightness and the panic that gets me when I start to let it dwell on me too much. The restrictions themselves haven't particularly bothered me that much, because I find it quite difficult sometimes to be sociable. But the whole thought of it, of everything that's happening, it weighs down, and it does. And as you say, you know, like, probably people looking at me now will think, well, there's nothing wrong with her. But, you know, and as you're saying yourself, we don't know what's going on inside people. And that's the thing. I think we need to just all be a bit more kind to one another, and to not make judgments, you know, not make assumptions. You know, if somebody doesn't quite want to speak, if they're just having a really off day, you know, don't just assume that they're in a mood with you, or, you know, I think it's just being kinder. That's my day anyway.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, definitely.
When you're writing a series, and now you've got 2, how do you keep it fresh for yourself and for your readers?
You know what I do, and I love doing it, I really love doing it, I put either my main character or one of the familiar subsidiary characters, you know, the secondary characters, if you like, I put one of them through the mill. So I do terrible things to them. I try to torture them in ways that, you know, that not necessarily physically, although sometimes, you know, they have violent, you know, things happen to them and that are a bit violent, but often just having to face big obstacles. And I think that, you know, life obstacles can be a really good way of sort of making your character respond, and to let the readers know more about them, and to make them have to reassess aspects of their own lives. So I think that helps to keep them alive, going, you know, fresh, different, to give them something else to come across. Because I remember with Gus, I left him at one point, and he had a really big decision to make. His sister had asked him to do something, and it was, I can't say what it was, but, and I had readers saying to me, oh, you know, you can't let him do that, and you know, and it was like, I thought, yeah, I've really done that well. And so in the next book, which was Unbound Ties, I had to resolve that issue, but it was so good to resolve it and then to do another twist as a sort of double whammy. So yeah, I love being a bit devious, I have to say. Yeah. That's how I try to keep it fresh. I don't know if it works. I think it does. Yeah, I'm hoping it does, touch wood, because I've got a few more Gus left in me, and I've certainly got some more Nikki Perex in me as well. So I don't want to stop either series just yet.
Well, I've only just read the first one, and I definitely want to read more. And poor Gus went through it in that first one, so God knows what you've done to him for the next.
Gosh, yeah. There's been quite a few. There's one where did you like Alice as a character?
Yes, very much.
Well, she goes through the mill in I think it's the fourth and fifth one, Alice. Oh gosh. Anyway, there was a particular scene and I was like, shall I leave that in or shan't I? And I did. And again, I had readers saying, oh God, that scene. So you have to read on quickly to get to that one. But yeah, I love putting them through the mill and showing different aspects of their character. So yeah, they become real to me, you see. So I start to think, well, you know, what are the sort of things that could happen to these people that, you know, just to me, they're ordinary people who, because they're in a book and because they're so, it's such a sort of narrow window, if you like, that you see in their lives. I want to make it as exciting and as different as possible. So that's why they go through such a lot, most of them.
I look forward to finding out, I think.
Perhaps not. You'll probably message me saying, oh no.
Yeah. Tony Forder made me cry 3 times in 3 consecutive books.
Which one? I've read all the Tonys except for the newest one, the prequel.
There's I think it was 5th, 6th and 7th.
With the oh gosh, the one, oh, I'm useless with titles, I forget them, but the one with the girl at the very beginning, the one who was the mule. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So I did message him and told him, and he just laughed because he's evil.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the response you want. You want an emotional response from the readers. So if you get that, you're on a roll. I pre-read 15 Coffins for Tony. And I said to him, he was in two minds whether he was going to publish it or not. And I said, oh, you've got to publish it. You've got to. Have you read that one?
Yep, I pre-read it. I beta read it as well. So
yeah, I said, you've got to, you must publish that one. So I'm so glad you did, and I got my copy. It's up there. I got my copy of it, and I was so chuffed because, you know, I really, really enjoyed that. It was completely different from the Bliss series, but that I enjoyed that. That's you know, and I think he said, oh, is it a bit too sort of, you know, because of the school shootings and things? I said, no, because you're looking at it from a different angle again. And I loved it. I hope he turns into a series. Yeah, I'll be having a word with them, I think, again, just a nudge in the right direction with that one.
Yeah, I think he gets nagged a lot about that. But the reviews you've got for that were phenomenal. So I think he was blown away, actually.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, me too. It was one of my top books of this year. So yeah, I just put the whole Bliss series in, so I cheated because they're amazing.
But to choose one would be a bit sort of
can't do it.
Yeah, I read them all back to back.
Yeah, so did I.
Fairly recently, just a few, you know, maybe the start of the summer, I think.
Same roughly, I think. Yeah. What's the most surprising thing you've discovered when you've been doing research?
That my Google history does not bear scrutiny. I found, well, I wasn't actually doing research, but I find this quite fascinating. You know, oh gosh, no, I can't remember her name. You know that friend of Val McDermott's, the one that's the forensic pathologist?
Oh, yes.
Susan Black. Sue Black, is it?
Sue Black's, yeah.
So I went to hear her speak, and she was telling us about this girl who was being abused by her stepfather, perhaps, and how they couldn't prove it, and they couldn't convict him for it. And then they saw a recording of his hand putting the light off or putting the light on or something, and apparently using a particular light, it showed the veins on his hands, and they were like fingerprints. And I was like, that was amazing. I just thought that's fantastic. And the other thing, oh gosh, I get so excited about this. The other thing she told me was that if you have a tattoo, because I've got a tattoo here, and I've got one, you can see my other one. Oh gosh, I don't know which side, it might be the other side. Is it there? And I've got this one here as well. Anyway, that's besides the point. So apparently, if you find a torso with no limbs, I hope I'm getting this right now. Yeah, you can correct me if I'm getting it wrong, because you'll know this. If you have a torso with no limbs, but they've got a tattoo on their hand, so I've got black and white on my tattoo here. So if they looked at my lymph nodes on my right hand, on my right side, actually in my armpit, they would see traces of this dye. So they would know that I had a tattoo on my right. So they can use it to match body parts with torsos. I thought that was fascinating. Not that you'd have to do it every day. I just thought it was fascinating that you know that this trace of my tattoo will be. So if they got found a lymph node with the dyes in, and then they found a hand that didn't have the dyes in, they know it didn't belong to that torso. Fascinating. Anyway.
Yeah,
So there you go. Yes, I have a lot of fascinating things I find out when I'm researching.
yeah, that Sue Black's awesome.
Yes.
I've read, I think she's written a book I've read, and we got recommended to look her up.
I'm
Obviously,
sorry, I've got it up here
yeah,
somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm going
can't
to.
even remember what it is.
I'm trying to, I can't see it now.
But yeah, I watched a video of her talking about the veins, and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've probably not explained it very well, but
No, that's spot on. That's exactly when you started saying. I was like, I know which is because I've seen this, and yeah,
yeah,
forensics is incredible.
it is. It's amazing, and the new developments that are happening all the time are just like, yeah. I didn't realize till fairly recently. That's another thing I found out, is that they can have a sort of a fingerprint analysis thing that you just have it with you as a CSI. You just have a fingerprint thing, and if you see a fingerprint, you can sort of, I imagine, I don't know what it looks like, but I imagine you sort of scan it a bit like a supermarket. You probably don't, but and it attaches, or it links in with, what's that? Is it APHIS for the fingerprint?
Yeah.
Thing.
Well, I think that's American, but
oh, is it?
Yeah, I can't think of what the UK one is off the top of my head. Yeah.
And it can tell you if somebody's on the, and you know, if they've got the fingerprints on record. It's amazing. That I only found out that recently. I don't know how widely that's used yet in the UK, but it, you know, that's quite
yeah. And did you know they sometimes, or they can get an ID from lip prints, handprints, and feet prints, and ears as well, because they're all unique.
I knew the ear thing because it's I can't remember where I read it or where I saw it, but somebody had been listening in, and yeah, but I didn't. I knew saliva. They could pick up saliva. No,
Saliva's.
Yeah, I was thinking of fingerprints around a neck. You can pick up fingerprints from skin, can't you, as well, if there's enough pressure there.
Yep.
It's amazing. It is amazing. I think you're listening to this is going to think, God, those two are sick.
See, I love this because I talk to people about what I do, what I study, and they're like, that's weird or that's gross. So if I find someone that loves it, I'm like, yeah.
Could talk about this all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I spoke to Kerry Richardson, and obviously she was CSI, so
isn't she?
Yeah, and hopefully going to speak to Andy Barrett at some point.
He's so funny. Be prepared to laugh the whole way through. He's lovely. They both are. Kerry and Andy are both lovely. But
yeah.
To laugh the whole way through with Andy, but he's really nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to speak to him when he agrees. I think I've penciled him in at some point. I can't remember. I'm so confused. I have so many now.
Yeah, because you had quite a long list anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to create a spreadsheet. That's how crazy it went.
Oh, well, better to be busy.
Yeah, I guess. What authors inspire you?
Loads. Tony Forder, yeah, I love Tony. I love his writing. Stuart McBride, I love him because I love the humour that he always seems to bring into his writing. And I've discovered another author, a Scottish author again, called J.D. Kirk, and he's got, I think I'm waiting for his next one to come out, and it's called A Snowball's Chance in Hell, I think, and it'll be out this month. Might be tomorrow. Might be tomorrow. And again, I love that. It's a police procedural, but I love it because again, it's that injection of humor amidst the darkness, you know. So it lightens it a bit. I love early James Patterson. I love Val McDermott. I love, who else have I read recently that I loved? Oh, Kendra Elliott, I read a lot of hers. I love Andy's work, Andy Barrett's. Kerry's, I've read quite a few of her early ones, and I love those. Anita Waller, I love, yeah. I read a lot, and I can never remember You know, my favourites change all the time, except for Stuart McBride. Yeah, he's always a favourite, no matter what.
Yeah, Tony's usually, and I agree with, and he has humour in his as well.
Yeah,
the relationship with him and Chandler is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I mean, I think that's what makes it, is when you can visualize the characters and when they've got that sort of camaraderie. I think that really makes a book, if you like. So yeah, I like that, and I try to aspire for that in my own writing, because I think that's the readers like it as well. I know that if I like it, then the other readers will like it, and it's nice. It's a, you know, it's nice to see the characters as real humans, and that's how you can inject that in, is by giving a bit of humor and a bit of camaraderie between them. Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, when I reviewed Unquiet Soul today, one of the comments I made was the camaraderie between the team really showed. So yeah, it does come across, and it is nice to read. So yeah, you definitely get that. That does come across. So yeah, I loved it. It was nice. It was a nice team to read about. So
it was quite, that one was actually going to be my second Gus one, and then it sort of, I don't know quite what happened, but it ended up being the first one, and I wrote that during my, well, I'd actually finished it before the MA, before I started the MA, and then I went through it all and made it better, you know, with the MA as part of the MA, and it really worked for me, I think, just changing things around a bit, and I've never looked back since then. I love Gus as a character, and I'll always be grateful that I thought of that character and that character came to light for me. And Alice is just, she's just, you know, she's feisty. She's how I wish I was, you know. I wish I was a bit more like her and a bit more kick-ass, you know.
yeah.
If I was younger.
Actually, that book is about child trafficking and stuff. So is there any subject that you won't ever touch? Because that's a common one that generally people try and avoid.
Supposed to look at the things that are happening that are really bad, and I think I don't think I was gratuitous in the way I handled it. I tried to sort of give the horror of it over without being, you know, getting into the nitty-gritty of it, because I think we can all imagine the sort of horrors that happen to young kids when they're abducted like that, and I just wanted that to I felt it had to be told. These sort of stories had to be told. I wrote another one fairly recently called Broken Silence, and it was my second Nikki one, and it was about modern day slavery. So sort of similar theme to it, really, child trafficking, modern day slavery. And I didn't enjoy writing it, but I felt it had to be written, it had to be told, because it was an important thing, message to be out there, that that's what's happening. Baby wanted you. Did it?
Yeah, it's jumping up at the couch. So
God bless.
God, he's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I'm half waiting for my husband to pop his head in and say, "Oh, you're still doing it now," or something, you know. So yeah. So, and I don't think there is anything that I don't think there is a topic that I wouldn't explore. It's how you explore it, I think, that is the way, you know. You don't do it in an exploitative way. You don't do it in a way that's like gratuitous. It has to be to show the horror of it, and to make sure that that's the message that comes across, that is, that whatever it is really bad. So no, I can't think of anything that I really wouldn't write about. I don't think I would write directly about anything that is real, you know, like say maybe Madeleine McCann or something like that. I wouldn't do that type of thing.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that I wouldn't use ideas from that in a book, you know, but it would be fictional. It would just be a sort of germ of an idea that took off, sort of thing.
Yeah. Are you a plotter or a pantser?
Well, I would say a pantser, because I don't write out a plan of anything in my mind or on a piece of paper. I don't have spreadsheets or anything like that. I just have an idea. As I told you earlier, that I have insomnia, and so when I'm trying to get to sleep, my mind starts to go over ideas of stories and scenes and things. So that, but I suppose that's plotting in a way, but I don't write anything down. And then it just, so I can be writing something and think, oh, I think I'll probably kill this character off. And then all of a sudden they sort of say, no, you're not. And then I don't kill them because, I don't know, I've got another idea for them for further on. So from that point of view, I just let the characters take me. I know it sounds cliched, and I know a lot of authors say it, but I do think that's what happens. I think, you know, as you're writing, the ideas just flood, and you just have to go with your gut. And I would hate to have planned it all and then feel, oh, well, I can't do that, because if I do that, then this will be out of date and I'll have to do that and I'll have to. No, so I just rather would just write and just see what happens, and see how far I can take things, really. That's how I work.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think probably 90% is that way. I think if I ever wrote, then I'd do that. Even my uni essays and things, I'd just go with it. I never planned. So
I have to say, I'm a bit like that. I sort of tend to write my academic stuff, write it out, and then go back and adjust it and maybe put it in a better order if I need to. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's just best to get it all out and then get
out. Would you write in any other genres?
I once thought about writing a vampire story, but again, it was going to be a crime fiction vampire one, so it's not really another genre, is it? It's just a subgenre. So I don't think, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I like crime, whether it's, you know, I might have a bit more romance in some, or I might sort of think of a futuristic one, or, as I say, the vampire one, but I don't think it would go very much or veer very much away from crime fiction. I think it's always got to have some sort of criminal element to it. Some of the topics, it's just how I am. It's what I read all the time as well. And, you know, so, yeah, I don't think so.
And would you ever consider writing with any other authors?
I would consider it. I wonder how that would work. I don't know. Yeah, I would consider it. I'd be interested to see how it would work, and it would have to be somebody that I really liked. So if we had to be honest with one another, we could be totally honest with one another and say, nah, this isn't working, or you've written that character rubbish. You need to rewrite that whole thing. Do you know what I mean? It would have to be that sort of mutual respect. But yeah, I think it's something I would like to do. I know Patricia Dixon and Anita Waller did one recently, and that seemed to work well for them. And I know Stuart McBride did, I don't know if it was a novella, but he wrote one with that, what's his name? Alan Guthrie. And yeah, there's a few sort of, you know, like couples, not necessarily partner couples, but couples that write together. And yeah, I often wonder how they do it. So I'd be interested in it. Yeah, with the right author.
I read Anita Waller and Patricia Dixon's, and they'd done a chapter each, and that seemed to, and then it came together at the end, and it worked really well. And it's a very good book. So yeah. But I think they're really good friends. So
yeah, I think they are. So it's that, you know, they can probably second guess each other a little bit, can't they?
Yeah.
I don't know how much planning they did beforehand. you know.
Not a lot, I don't think. I think one or the other was in a bad mood and they decided to write a book together. I think that's pretty much if I remember
organic,
correctly.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. One of my favourite questions is, do you write any secret jokes or messages in your books that only a few people will understand?
I don't think I do, really. No.
If you ever put anyone in them that's wronged you or punished anyone in fiction?
Now that would be telling. Yeah, possibly I've killed a few people off. I will not name them. I once put a friend in a book, and I thought after I didn't do it intentionally. It wasn't until afterwards I thought, oh, gosh, that's that particular friend. And so when she was reading it, I was like, oh, gosh, she's going to realize, and she didn't. So that was okay. But it was unintentional. I think my dad, who's dead anyway now, but Fergus Maguire, Gussie's dad, that round sort of tum-shaved head, as I keep calling it, that's a bit my dad. A bit of a round head and a big bulbous nose. So I think that's sort of come from that. But that's just a bit of a nod, I think, to my dad. But no, no hidden messages, I don't think. Although people will probably see hidden messages that aren't there.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, she's saying that about me.
Yeah.
I do write a lot. I do, not so much now, obviously, because we're not out and about much, but I used to write in the pub a lot or in cafes, and I had earwig. I was terrible at just listening to everybody's conversations, and a lot of that made its way into books. Yeah, but these were anonymous people, so it didn't matter then, really. They wouldn't know, I hope.
You said you read a lot, so what are some of the top books you've read this year?
15 Coffins, which we've already spoken about. I've just finished one. I've just reviewed it on Goodreads. It's not actually out until next year. It's by Harlan Coben, and it's called Win. And I don't know if you read any Harlan Coben.
I don't think I have, actually.
Well, he had this character series years ago, and it was a guy called Myron Bolitar, and his best friend was this really posh, privileged, a bit of a sociopath, I always thought, called Windsor Horn Lockwood. And I read all the Myron books, loved them, but this book that I've just finished and just reviewed today, it's Win on his own. So he's in his early 50s now, and it's so good to see him, but without Myron there. So he's the main character, and I really, really enjoyed that, although it's not out till next year. I enjoyed Chris Carter's, oh gosh, now I want to say Hunting Evil, but it's the one after that, I think.
Did it?
Was it Hunting Evil? The most recent one anyway.
Yeah.
I've read Stuart McBride one called, what was it called? Coffin Maker's Garden. It's not out until January either. And I loved Andy Barrett's one. And I think it was called This Side of Death. I really enjoyed that this year as well. Yeah.
Yeah, some good.
I read so many, it's hard to remember them all. I have to go back on Goodreads and check through and say, oh yeah, I really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Make a list.
Yeah, because I'm admin on British crime fiction, people wanted to know what some of my top reads were, so I had to go through Goodreads, and I was like, oh my god.
I saw them, because I think Patricia Dixon's one was there, wasn't it? Was it Me Too was there? Or
Me Too was there, and Resistance was. There were 3 books that stood out more than anything, and Resistance was one of them. It was a stunning book, yeah. And Mark Tilbury's Prayer for the Broken and Trauma by Dylan Young. They're my three, yeah. But,
again, lovely guys, both of them, Dylan and Mark. Well,
yeah.
they're a nice lot of authors, actually, aren't they? You know, I think the group of authors that tend to be in the UK Crime Book Club, British crime fiction, and you know, all these crime fiction-y groups are really nice, really supportive of each other.
Yeah,
and I like
yeah,
that. I like that camaraderie. I like that sort of feeling that you can ask stupid questions and get a sensible answer. Yeah, I think we're yeah, I don't think we have the bitchiness. Apparently somebody once said that romantic fiction novelists, novel writers are really bitchy. Now, I don't know that that's true, and I'm not saying it is true, but yeah, we're not. I don't think crime fiction are as much. So, yeah.
No, I find everybody is absolutely lovely, and they give so much time, and they will always answer us crazy readers, and sometimes answer our crazy questions as well, and you know, and do things like this. So yeah, it is lovely.
There's no point in writing if you don't want to engage with the reader. Do you know what I mean? It's like a partnership, isn't it? You know, when you write a book and it goes out there and somebody reads it, then it's a partnership between you and that person. You've put emotion into it and they've put emotion into it by reading it. So it's a sort of two-way process, I think. You can't write without having the readers, and you know, the readers need the writers. So yeah.
Yeah, you just write too slowly. Mark hates me. Mark absolutely hates me. I'm like, have you written your next one yet? Because I read so quickly. So because I've beta read his new one, so now I'm going to have to wait even longer until his next one.
Yeah. I find what I've been doing recently is I've been finding a series and starting at the beginning and just binge reading it. And that's just every so often. I don't do it all the time, but I usually, you know, like I choose an author with the series and I read them all the books in the series for a couple of weeks, and then I go back to just reading individual books again. And yeah, and I find that quite satisfying because you really get to know the characters and you see them develop, you know, over time. Whereas you know, when you're just waiting for the next one to come out from an author, it seems to take forever. Yeah. And I'm always get back to your, you know, get back and get writing, and then, you know.
Yeah. I wind Mark up. We're called his Annies. We're his author stalkers. Yeah. So
comment to that. Annie Wilkes, isn't it?
Yep.
No.
I think the Christmas card he sent me even has her on. So. Which I laughed for ages. It's so funny. Yeah, bless him. He does get some grief, but he can give it as well. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure he can.
Yeah. Bless him. So if you were going to invite 4 famous people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Who would I invite?
Could be absolutely anybody.
Anybody. Definitely, I would say Hannibal Lecter, because that's just, you know, although I would have him, I would have his mask on, I think, just to be on the
cooking,
yeah. Who else would I like? I think Hercule Poirot would be quite interesting. Yeah. Who else? Oh, Rob Ashman. He is so funny. Yeah, he's a good laugh. Yeah. And he'd bring the Prosecco. Never far away
from anything else. Yeah.
So yeah, yes, that's how many is that? 3. And Anita Waller to keep everybody under control. So there you go. There's my 4.
Sounds like fun, except for perhaps Hannibal Lecter. I'm not sure about.
Yeah, I was thinking about and I wouldn't have him cooking either. What you'd end up with, do you?
What would you cook? Would you cook or would you get takeout?
If I was going to cook, it would probably be curry. But yeah, I might be lazy and just get a takeout. And that would be curry as well. So it'd be curry, no matter what, it'd be curry.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You have good curry up there, actually, don't you, up north? Probably better than we do.
My husband's Indian, so his family are from Gujarat, so a lot of that is vegetarian curries, and they're lovely, really nice. So I do some nice lentils and different curries and things as well. But then of course we've got the Pakistani and the Bangladeshi cuisines. So yeah, it's a bit of a hotbed of curries in Bradford. You can get all different kinds, and you get to know what's a Bangladeshi one and what's a Pakistani one and what's a Punjabi one and what's an Indian one, and yeah, it's nice.
Oh, wow. You could get your husband to cook and then kick him out.
He sort of he cooks sometimes, but not that often recently. Yeah, I have to get him back in the saddle cooking.
Yeah. I'll apologise to him later when he's slaving over the cook.
Oh, you won't mind. You won't mind.
Send some down my way.
Yeah.
Post-COVID world, when everything's back to normal, you have a day free of restrictions, you can do what you want. What's your perfect day?
You know, it would be probably going to Harrogate Crime Festival or Bloody Scotland. It's just, I have missed that so much this year. I've missed not being able to go to Harrogate or the Crime Festival, obviously, because it's such a laugh and everybody's so friendly, and it's like you're just submerged in all these people who's, you know, you fangirl about all these authors that you read, and it's amazing. And it's the same at Bloody Scotland, and just being in Scotland for me is just, Bloody Scotland takes place in Stirling, and I went to university in Stirling, so it's doubly sort of poignant. So either of those two places is where I'd go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And possibly round it off with what do you call them? Fun-loving crime writers concert. If you know, with Mark Williams, Val McDermott, and that they have a group and they all sing, and it's amazing. I went to that at Bloody Scotland last time, obviously, and it was fantastic. So yeah, that would be
awesome. Yeah, I'm so jealous of everyone. Yeah. Hopefully Harrogate goes ahead next year, because I want to go.
I hope so. Have you been before?
No, and I'm so jealous of everyone that's been. And it's amazing. So
love it. You really would. Everybody's so friendly and just, you know, hangs out, and yeah, you'd love it. I hope it does. I'm sure it will. Hopefully by July, June, July. Yeah.
And Rob Ashman's promised me a drink as well, so I've got to keep him.
Has he? Yeah. Oh well.
Actually, I think quite a few people have. So
he'll be there. He'll be there, well, Rob. He'll be at the bar.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of him where he's absolutely wasted. So I know.
Just what?
Yeah. Well, someone sent it to me sneakily, so I'm keeping it.
I could send you a few.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lovely.
It's there's just so many people there that are just so nice. Yeah. Bloggers as well. There's so many bloggers there, and oh yeah, love it. Love it.
What was I just gonna ask? Can't think. So are you working on anything new at the moment?
I've got two ideas that I'm going to be starting pretty shortly. One is the fourth Nikki Perec one. So I can't really say too much about that. And the other one is a Gus McGuire one. And it's going back. The Gus McGuire one is following up on a character that I created 2 books ago, and sort of following up on that character. So yeah, so I'm working on both of those at the minute. I'll have to do the Nicky Perec one first, and then I'll do the Gus one. So hopefully there'll be 2 at least released next year. Well, I've got actually possibly 3, because I've got Dark Memories coming out in January, which is the 3rd Nicky Perec one, and I'm hoping for another Nicky Perec one next year and a Gus one. So hopefully there'll be 3 out at least.
Nice.
If I can get this PhD out of the way, then I can just crack on writing. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can't wait to get back into the swing of the writing again, and really focus on that. So at the minute, they're just all ideas burbling away in my head.
And your husband and children read your books? Are they your first readers?
No, actually, because none of them are great readers. My oldest used to be a really, used to read a lot, but he doesn't really read very much. My husband tends to listen in audiobook because he prefers to read non-fiction. So, no, they don't read, apart from my husband, no, they don't really read it. But my daughter's girlfriend's mum reads them, and I've got some beta readers, and I've got an art group that read them. So yeah. And a creative writing support group that reads them as well. So yeah, I don't mind that my kids don't read it, because sometimes there's bits that are a bit, like a couple of, my daughter's read bits of it, and there's been a couple of sex scenes, and she's sort of like, oh. I mean, not that it's anything particularly raucous or anything, not hugely, but no, that's the bit she's zoned in on and said, oh, yeah. I'm glad that they don't really.
You think they'd be worried about what goes on in your head if they read them?
Well, sometimes when I go for a walk, and me and my husband, and he's sort of looking at the scenery and things, oh, was that lovely, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, you could kill somebody and dump them down there. So I think he should be worried. Go for walks with me, and sometimes I'll say, just take a photo of that there, because that bush, you could really hide a body under there. Also the territory.
Yeah, I think I feel sorry for authors' partners more generally than bless them. They have no idea.
Well, he's just doing him after 30 odd years.
Yeah, I always think they must sleep with one eye open, but generally apparently not so much.
I think he just sleeps, full stop. I envy him. I wish I could sleep as much.
Yeah. So I don't think I have anything else to ask you, unless there's anything else you want to tell us about what you do.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Can't think of anything else to say. I think we've covered everything, haven't we? We've been round the block a few times. Yeah, no, it's been lovely chatting to you, and lovely seeing you as well, because often you don't put names to the faces. Faces to the names, even on Facebook and Twitter and things. You don't often see people.
Yeah, especially when they hide their pictures like I do. Usually I've got either books or my dog as my profile. I don't usually have my own face. So.
Well, it's usually my, but obviously, I have to have pictures of me about Amazon and things like that. So yeah,
yeah,
it's nice to see people.
So
when we bump into each other in Harrogate next year, at least we'll know who we are.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, after I've done this, I'll know lots of places. Yeah. Not that I don't ever watch them back. I just put them up, and then that's it. I'm done with it.
Oh, gosh, how many people watch these things then?
Surprisingly, quite a few. Oh. I've got a hardcore group of people that watch all of them, and then Tony's has been viewed over 40 times on YouTube, and his one on Facebook's been viewed a couple of hundred, I think. Duncan's has been viewed a couple of hundred times, so yeah, quite a few people.
Oh, good. So will you send me a link when it's up, or?
put it up on my own page, and then I put it in British Crime Fiction, and I'll tag you in it, and then
Brilliant.
you can do whatever you wish, and it goes on YouTube as well. So.
Oh, great! Yes, I'll share it, definitely. It's been lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
A lovely, lovely time. Yeah.
And do you just want to tell people where they can find out more about you and your books?
Oh! I have a website. It's called, what is it? www.lizmistry.com. So that's quite easy. I'm on Twitter, and again, it's at Liz Mistry. I'm on Facebook, again, Liz Mistry author. My books are all on Amazon, and I think that's about it. Oh gosh, I nearly forgot. I run the Crime Warp blog as well. So
yeah, I meant to ask you about that actually. Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, it's just we started it up. Some of us that met in Harrogate years and years, long time ago, we started it up together, and now it's just really me and one other woman that's left, Toria, and we do all sorts of things. We interview authors, we do reviews, we do spotlights, we do blog tours, we do all sorts of things. It's all crime fiction, and so yeah, that's what we do. So it's the Crime Warp.
Is that on all the normal podcast places?
It's on Blogspot, I think. Is it Blogspot? Yeah.
Okay.
The Crime Warp. But if you Google Crime Warp, it comes up. And I usually, when I've done an interview or posted a new article or anything like that, I share it on Twitter, and I share it in various Facebook groups as well. So I do. So if there's any bloggers out there who want to be on, I'm doing a new series called Bloggers in the Spotlight, where they answer a few questions. So if any of them want to come on, that'd be great. Love to have bloggers, because I think bloggers get underestimated a little bit, don't they? And sometimes, every so often you see these sort of bad posts about them, and I think, well, they're the life's blood for writers, so I don't understand that at all. I really appreciate bloggers.
Yeah, they're getting a bit of a hard time at the minute, I've noticed. So yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where we'd be without them. I don't know where I'd be without them, because excellent, just promoting authors all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Right.
Okay then.